Alrighty, on to the next one. Oh man, I'm kind of out of it today. I had some food poisoning this morning, but I'll do my best to focus. We're also in Mercury in retrograde, so it's also kind of like, but in any case, Gemini and Gemini. Oh my goodness. This is a very fascinating, incredible, fast-paced relationship. I have a couple really great Gemini friends, and hell, my little sister is Gemini too, and you know, Zach, who I've done a couple of videos, Gemini, and you can see when we get together. If you haven't checked them out, I really encourage you to check them out because it's really cool, really fast-paced, exciting. We're going to be doing some more videos in the near future. I know it's been a long time since we've done that, but you know, we're brothers as always. We've just been busy. But in any case, that's the thing about Geminis is you know, this relationship. It's really hard for two Geminis, unless they're, you know, like twins, you know, like best friends, they hang out every single day and whatnot, they complement each other with their energies just very naturally. Well, that happens with everyone, but when two Geminis get together, it's a great time, it's a fun time, you just never know how long it's going to last. It's the nature of Gemini, and it's actually a really beautiful thing because, you know, even if you have, say, a Gemini with Mercury in Gemini, for example, me, and then a Gemini with Mercury in Taurus or Cancer or something. Oh, hell, I just forgot. I have so many great close friends who are Geminis. Awesome. Me and my buddy Ian, too, who's a musician, and we're going to be making music together. But anyways, focus. Oh man, totally got derailed. Long story short, it's a fun relationship, and it's so interesting. I love having of course, naturally. I love having conversations with my Gemini friends. You know, I ran into one in a bar last weekend, and we haven't seen each other in some months now, and you know, we haven't talked or anything, even though Facebook friends and all that. But we saw each other, and our faces just lit up, and I just naturally went up to her. I'm like, hey, and you know, hug, and like, oh, I miss you. It's always that light and fun energy between two Geminis, because naturally, you know, whenever you have two people of the same sign, and most likely they will have all different signs, or practically all different signs with Mercury and Venus and all that, there's still a natural understanding of each other with the sun sign, you know? When you share a sun sign with somebody, that's such a huge part of your life, that's such a huge part of their life, it naturally is compatible, it naturally harmonizes really well. And of course there are challenges, just like with any relationship, we'll get to that. But, damn, you know, two Geminis together are like two peas in a pod, two twins, truly, and that's probably one of the best things about this relationship, is because both are so flexible, and because both like to talk and converse and take sides, and not so much in an argumentative fashion, but just kind of an interesting debate fashion. Like, okay, so, well, I think this, what do you think? You know, I'd love to hear your perspective. When one does that, the other can mirror, you know, and there's so much freedom in this relationship, you know, they can disagree. There have been times when I have very much disagreed with my Gemini friends, but we still understand each other, and in fact, very often, in fact, I can't think of a single time when we couldn't just sit down and talk and get through our differences and be able to reach a mutual understanding. At the very least, I have good feelings between us. I don't think I've ever had bad feelings with another Gemini, because, you know, Geminis aren't about feelings in the first place, but Geminis aren't about bad either. You know, Geminis are all about having fun, learning, making connections, and that's another great challenge, or not great challenge, I guess that's what we'll talk about next, a little subconscious. That's a great benefit for this relationship is, oh goodness, it's derailed me again. Whatever, I'm rolling with the retrograde. Apparently that'll come up later if it's really important. But one of the challenges for the Geminian relationship is for honesty. You know, it is very important to be completely above board. You know, when two Geminis get together, they're naturally going to be very fun and light, and they're just going to be like, oh, so, you know, how's it going? Not really expecting or looking forward to a, you know, response like, oh, everything sucks, my life sucks, this and this. When Geminis get together, there's a natural tendency for things to be, hey, yay. That's a great gift, it is, but the challenge is to always be smiling, you know, no life is one pure emotion, let alone pure good emotions. We all go through challenges. We all go through really hard times, and we all go through a lot of pain and suffering. And of course, we learn from that. It's a beautiful part of life, really, when seen from the bigger scheme. But it's important to be able to talk and not have a smile on your face and not be constantly trying to be witty or constantly trying to lighten things up, and that is a challenge for Geminis. Now, the cool thing is this: a lot of Geminis have a lot of Taurus or Cancer. That makes them a lot more receptive, a lot more passive in a very nice, receptive way. They can hear about other people's problems. They can talk about real world issues and not get uncomfortable because it's too negative for them. So that's some good news. And also, an evolved Gemini, if you will, is so flexible and adaptable and not afraid of getting ensconced in people's emotions. I think I'm using that word right. I should check that out. It's a cool word. Not getting trapped in people's emotions. That, ooh, that's chilly. My goodness, this Gemini is so scattered. A mature Gemini is flexible enough to deal with that, to deal with really serious issues and when people really need help. And in fact, that's when we shine. Or at least one of the times we shine. There's hair everywhere. Damn it. Meow, meow. Is when we give advice to people that isn't just, light and airy-fairy advice, but very serious, sober, helpful advice. Geminis provide excellent perspectives. Maybe that's what I was going to say before, because that's definitely something important to talk about, is when you have two Geminis together, their reasoning power, their ability to understand, make patterns, make connections is top-notch. It's incredible. In fact, I can't think of any other two signs together not really. I mean, when you get two Geminis together, you can truly figure things out, and because both bring their own perspective, first of all, but they also bring their own experiences, and both treat experiences in a very logical manner. We treat life in a very logical manner. We understand, even though air is known for being, very abstract and very hard to grasp and whatnot, we are extremely logical. That is one of the hallmarks of air signs. And, we're thinking all the time. And so when two Geminis get together, they share their perspective, their experiences. They mold each other in very beautiful, subtle ways. They help each other see the way forward. If ever you're a Gemini and or hell, if you're any sign really, but especially if you're a Gemini and you have a Gemini friend, you have a problem, and you trust that person, you can delve into that realm of life with that person. You should, because many a times have I kind of been in a rut or stuck with something, and I talk to my Gemini friend and it gets cleared away. That kind of nice breeze helps stimulate my breeze. It gets me thinking, it gets me trying to figure things out more. And of course, direct advice is always a prize from a dedicated Gemini friend or somebody who's trying to help you. From my experiences. Very often when two Geminis get together, they speak all sorts of different languages. They make up their own languages. They just have fun with words, and it's so fun when two Geminis get together. But again, you never know how long it's going to last. You never know if, one is going to just jet off at any one moment. And, that's a cool thing about the relationship, is that freedom is there. I have a lot of Cancer energy. And even with my most flightiest of Gemini friends, I completely have always understood their need, to just go off and do their own thing and not have to tell and warn everyone. And I think that's one of the best parts of this relationship is Gemini people, we have to spend a lot of time, especially with, more cautious signs like Earth and Water. We have to spend a lot of time trying to gain people's trust and to break down barriers, because, those barriers are up for everyone in the first place, but especially for Gemini people sometimes. People can be very cautious. Capricorns, I find, especially, and Taurus sometimes, they can be very cautious of Gemini's trustworthiness. And honestly, I don't blame them. I get it. Because we talk so fast, because we're constantly making connections, and because we seem so unreliable. And some of us are unreliable. We've all, as Gemini's, been unreliable at some point in our lives. That's how we are. We're here, we're there, we're doing this, we're going to plan for that, but that didn't quite work out, so now we're doing that. And so other sun signs, they can really get frustrated with that, and they can even dislike the Gemini because of that, which is a bummer. But again, an evolved Gemini, if you will, is very, very adaptable, very flexible, and is able to, yes, be their airy selves and be free to float wherever we need to be, but still is very conscious and considerate. Where the evolved Gemini is being very cognizant of how other people are, how they perceive, how they think, and so we can work around those obstacles, being the flexible people that we are, and the quick thinking and whatnot. The beautiful, beautiful thing, in fact, probably for me, the most beautiful thing about this relationship, Gemini and Gemini, is right off the bat, you don't have to deal with that shit. And again, I get it, I understand, it's whatever, but for a Gemini, anything that gets in the way of communication is not only frustrating, it's actually a huge deterrent, and it makes us run for the hills, or put one foot outside the door getting ready to run for the hills. Maybe we'll see how it is a little bit more, but we're about to leave if we feel like communication is being entrapped by emotions or just very narrow thinking. Love Earth energy, I really do, and we all have Earth energy within us, but it's so frustrating sometimes as a Gemini when Earth signs are just they're so focused on the material world, either getting security through money, getting security through shelter, and those things are important, of course, but again, as a Gemini, we're not thinking about that. We are constantly in the air realm, the mental realm. We're not enmeshed in the material world, and it can get very frustrating for us to be around people who don't prize communication as much as us. And again, we have to be flexible. We have to understand people are different. It's been a long road for me to understand that and to not try and talk people to death or trying to talk people, out of shyness and whatnot. People need to be treated how they need to be treated. Everyone's different. But again, cool thing about this relationship is none of that's in the way. Geminis, because you have two people who are loving conversation, who are adept at it, and who thrive off of other people's contributions, it's a constant back and forth, and it's an immediate back and forth. Things are just good. You're able to talk and not get enmeshed in silly concerns for the most part, even if you have different Mercuries, For example, again, I have Mercury in Gemini as well as my sun, and I have amazing conversations with my friends who Mercury Cancer, Mercury Taurus. And, even though we think differently, our ruling planet is in a different sign, being that Mercury rules Gemini, there's still, that sun sign compatibility, that harmony is still so powerful, and still so, it's just a bridge, that it creates a bridge that is so intangible to other people. They may not see you as a Gemini with that other Gemini for months. They may not even know the other person exists, but you see them, and you go, yay, my friend, my twin, my brother, my sister, so good to see you. And it's just immediate. So, talking about one of the challenges is, that scatteredness of Gemini. That's probably the biggest challenge. Not just when they're, whether they're present or not, but whether they're present mentally. It's so funny how married to the mind we are, how married to the mental realm, the logical realm, and how that is our natural place, I mean, even today when I was puking up my guts, so much fun with my food poisoning, my natural air sensibilities came over, and I was just like, okay, can I just divorce my body right now? Can I just go somewhere else while this is all happening? Because I don't like this, this isn't where I need to be right now. And I've always had that feeling. It's not just, when vomiting, but in 1,000,001 circumstances, Geminis, and all the air signs, but especially quick, mutable, mercurial Gemini, we we just want to get out of the body and stay out. You know, we want to go float in a higher realms of thinking and thought and conversation and progress and adventure and exploration, and you know, all in a logical fashion. That's what we want to do, and so that is a challenge too. Now, of course, when you have two Geminis, they're naturally going to bring each other into conversation. They're going to naturally bring each other into interaction. It's just the energies of, you know, who they are. But there are certainly times, and that's one of the challenges, is giving each other space, you know. And again, just like with any relationship, but especially this one where you have the sign that is, I mean, in my perspective, needs the most space out of all of the signs, needs the most freedom out of all the signs. There is that challenge of understanding that need with each other, and especially if you have different Mercuries, you know, and especially with other different energies at play. Giving each other the space that you need and being understanding of your differences is a very important part of this relationship. You know, everything that I was saying before, I find is very true about that bridge, and you know how solid it is, even though it's intangible to other people and they can't see it and whatnot. But with any two signs of the two people of the same sign, there is that challenge. You know, we are harshest with those who are most similar to ourselves. We all are. This is how I think human nature works, because we see somebody who's like us and we automatically feel a comparison. Now, can we get past that as a human species? Yes, we should. You know, we should all be working towards that, I think. To not compare, to not be jealous, to not judge and you know, judge ourselves. I think that's a very destructive practice all in all. And it's very important for two Geminis to not try and control each other in the sense of ideas, saying, no, I'm right, you must adapt to me. Or, you know, just, again, whatever, it's not the worst challenge in the world, but it does definitely seem to be there. I say it's not the worst because it's Gemini, it's tolerant, it's fun-loving, you know, it's not so much worried about trying to change other people and whatnot. But again, it's a challenge that I find it does come up whenever any two signs of this, you know, two people of the same sign come together. And I have seen the kind of mental molding attempted by Gemini, and it's very important to not do that. You know, I mean, you can help each other, you can provide perspectives, you can offer helpful, friendly, strings-free advice as much as you want, and that's a beautiful thing, that's how it should be. But when either one of the people tries to get the other Gemini to follow their path, their personal path, no bueno. So that's just something to think about. And again, just to reiterate, giving each other freedom is very, very important. Very important. And to not project your own self onto the other person. You know, no two people are alike. And even if they share all of the same energies, they're completely different. And, you know, it's quite poignant that, considering that Gemini, I don't remember where I read it, but I've read several places, that as per twins, more twins are born in the time of Gemini, and lesser so Virgo, than any other sign. And that makes sense. It's the sign of the twins, you know. But yeah, even with two Gemini twins, or 3 or 4 or 5, however many, they're going to be completely different people, and it's very important to honor that. I think that's... I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, that feels good. I'm sure I'll do another video at some point with my wife, and I'll get up to this one. So, namaste. I'm gonna go rest.